Welcome back to the Issue Reset podcast.
And today we're in the room with the bassist from the band Trusted. So first off, how did you form your band? Like, how did you all meet? You just mentioned your brothers, so, kind of explains that. But how did you decide to get the band together?
Well, so my brother and the guitarist had known each other since school. The guitarist is a year older than my brother. And they used to, about 2015, they were in a different band and they needed a bass player. And at the time I was learning bass. And they got into a position where they didn't have a bass player and they were in the studio. So I had to sort of, quickly learn the songs and then, get in the studio with them. And at first my brother didn't really want me in the band because obviously brothers in bands, siblings and stuff. He was quite like, no, not even that. And then, a gig came up and then I filled in. No, after that gig, no more, not anymore. We're going to find no one else. And we were doing more and more gigs and I slowly sort of, edged my way in and then got into that band, but then that band kind of fell apart. So me, Dale, the guitarist, and Tom decided to, start a new band. And so we put an ad out for a drummer. And then someone I knew recommended a drummer who messaged me, Dave, and we got into a studio rehearsal space one evening and sort of all played together and it just sort of clicked. I think we did, we just jammed out Reptilia by the Strokes as like the first song. And then from then on, sort of the Trusted was born in that room. And, been going, that was about, 2016, been going ever since.
You've got to love the Strokes, I feel like. I've got a poster up there of the Strokes, but you can't see it, so.
Yeah, because it's a really good poster now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But our drummer is a massive Strokes fan. And yeah, we just, I mean, I knew that song from, we used to play a game called Guitar Hero 3. I used to, obviously play that song like a lot and Down Tom knew the song as well. It was a great song to bond over.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, speaking of songs, what inspires most of your songs? And is it like an event or like an experience that you've experienced?
Yeah. In terms of I suppose how we come about songs, it's kind of quite random because how the songs sort of come together is, one of us or will bring a riff or something, we might be in a certain mood one day and we bring a riff to the table or Tom might have some lyrics. And then we'll go, we've got this riff and then I see it and go, I'll put a bass onto it. And then, Dave puts a drum beat on and then the song kind of grows out and takes on, a feel and vibe on its own. It might initially start out as something quite serious and dark to be quite sort of, funky, or the other way around, something quite happy, which unfortunately becomes quite intense and sad. But it's quite random really in terms of what, inspires us. A lot of the songs, my brother is sort of the main lyric writer. He tends to, kind of focus the songs on, on the human condition and those feelings of being depressed and anxious and, wanting to be all right, wanting to be normal. Obviously all of us are, experience, anxiety and, sadness. But when you look at other people, you always feel like their lives are in order. Everyone else is fine, and my brother likes to sort of comment on that and, that shared feeling that we all sort of go through.
So you just mentioned like the Strokes, but do you have any like big music idols that you look up to when like writing songs or being inspired?
Oh yeah, I mean, myself, I'm into sort of older music. I think with my upbringing, my mum and dad kind of, I'd say, show me their influence, kind of brainwashed me into older sort of music. But for me, the main one is like The Who, Beach Boys, Coldplay, Jack White. I mean, as a band, I think sound-wise, we look at a lot of elements, especially with our recent stuff like The Killers, the 1975, kind of like they've changed, style-wise in their latest stuff, especially like Coldplay. So yeah, we like to, really love the sound and vibe, and their influences really sort of complement the sound we're going for.
I definitely heard some of the 1975 when I listened to your stuff. I was like, definitely getting some 1975 vibes here.
Yeah, we yeah, sort of our latest stuff. We really like their poppy stuff. Like people, that sort of the heaviness, and I don't know really. I just quite like how the Knights have evolved in terms of the sound, and their latest sound now. It seems to really kind of resonate with sort of the vibe we're sort of going for.
Yeah. So in 5 words, if you had to describe your band or like the sound of your band to someone who's never heard of it before, what 5 words would you use?
Oh, I'll probably say anthemic, alternative, probably sadly uplifting, and I'd say evolving as well, because we're never kind of in the same place. Every time we go in the studio or write new songs, we think we're a certain we're going more in this sort of poppy style, and then one of us might bring it the other way to more rocky, more heavier. So I'd say kind of evolving, or adaptable. We change all the time, but yeah. And then sadly uplifting, like my brother tends to write about those kind of sort of darker sides of feeling sad and anxious, and I suppose the music to complement it sounds quite happy, even though the themes of what we sort of explore are pretty dark.
I'd definitely say you're quite a versatile brand of like what you can write about, and like the sound of like each one of your songs. But have you set any goals for the band that you'd like to reach by the end of this year?
I mean, over lockdown, it kind of forced us to focus more on the digital side, or the online side, social media. I mean, before that, we were gigging very frequently, to a point where we're gigging like once a week. Like, we just wanted to play kind of everywhere, and lockdown sort of taught us we've really got to focus on sort of social media and stuff like that. And TikTok was before lockdown. I think it was at the start of lockdown. TikTok sort of came into play.
It definitely lockdown was, I feel like
2019. I feel like
2019 and lockdown. Yeah, lockdown to begin with was kind of just dances, and we were kind of put off because none of us can really dance, and it's trying to do it in a cool way as well is even harder.
I think your TikToks are great. So that's how I found you. I've seen like loads of people share your TikToks and like their stories, and I'm like, because they're like, I don't know, it's just also when you're using your songs in the TikToks, I'm like, whoa, genius.
Yeah. I think TikTok, it kind of like, there was a point where it sort of changed in the humor and how people were using it. There was sort of that self-awareness of what everyone does. It was going from the teachers you had at school, the different people at school you used to hang around with. Like, it was quite reassuring because everyone kind of had the same, everyone saw the same stuff, and I suppose with our TikTok, through the gigs and just doing music for so long, you kind of see the isms of musicians, and the people that you come across, and the situations in a band you find yourself in. And we'd always joke about it, and TikTok for the first time kind of gave us that way of describing it, and just sort of taking the mick out of ourselves, because we're guilty of doing the things that we sort of do in our TikToks. But yeah, I would say just the main goal is just getting more music out. TikTok's really sort of expanded our reach. So you guys have discovered our stuff for it, and I think it's just getting our music out more and more, and just keeping the momentum with releasing stuff, really.
I feel like it's changed from like the dances to like Vine. Like, I feel like it's literally TikTok's literally Vine now. But
yeah,
kind of love that kind of.
Yeah, I just find myself spending a lot of time just swiping through. That's the only problem now. It's become more.
Waste a lot of time on TikTok.
Yeah,
it's endless, and you're like, oh god.
Yeah,
it's like one more video, and then it's just an endless loop.
More.
And it pulls in other videos you might like, and it's a bit of it's quite like, it's almost like scattergun. You just get given loads of weird videos, but in a way it helps us out, because with Facebook and Instagram, it's great, but you've got to get your music out, you've got to advertise and put money into it. Whereas TikTok, it's just so, the algorithm is so like wild, and there's no, it hasn't been like locked down yet. Ironically, it was sort of a lockdown.
Also, it's like, it's not only like the people that you follow, it's like for you page and stuff. Like Instagram, it's like you only really see who you follow, but you don't even have to follow them, so it's great.
Yeah, exactly, and you kind of see a lot of things, and a lot of music and just things you'd never see really around the world, and
Some things.
Yeah, some things. But I just think it's a great way of kind of exposing yourself to sort of new music and music equipment and all that stuff. So that's sort of, I suppose, some of the positives. Obviously, there's a lot of negatives as well, but it's been great. It's been great for us.
So what has been the biggest challenge in your career so far? Obviously, Corona has been like a big impact, but is there anything else in particular that you found challenging?
I think it's just with releasing songs, it's being able to get your songs in front of people, because I suppose the best thing about the internet and social media is that everyone gets this voice now that you never once had, especially with bands. The way you used to do it is just play it, get in a van and just drive up and try and hope you build a following from there. But social media now is you can not only get yourself out there, but you can create your own identity online, like really, really define it, get it how you want it to be and how you want to be, how you want to show yourself off to the world. But because everyone has that ability now, it saturates saturates these channels. And while you've got all these great artists, because there's so many great artists now out there, locally big, is that it's hard to kind of stand out and get in front of people that you can really connect with, who really appreciate music and really want to engage with you. So I think the biggest challenge really is keeping that kind of momentum, and just keeping people engaged, and you're thinking of content. And that was, again, it's lockdown really kind of brought that into light, because there's always been like an ongoing struggle is keeping that momentum, but lockdown is like, now it's all about content. It's all about really getting that online presence sort of like really defined and clear to people.
So obviously TikTok, maybe not like your favourite thing to do, not going to be dancing or anything like that. Much rather make music.
Yeah, for now we don't know. It could change.
I mean, you might just like pillar diversity and start dancing. Like, you can go in whatever direction you want to go. From that, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Is it, being a dance group? Maybe, who knows?
It could be. It very well could be, because if there's another lockdown or something, we may have to get the dance mats out and get buy Just Dance, and really learn some moves.
That'd be great.
5 years time, I think given current affairs and just the whole last 2 years, you just never know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. And I suppose for us it's we'd like to obviously be selling our stadiums. That'd be perfect and kind of the ideal world, but I think it's in 5 years time I'd like to be in a position where the music we're making is still fulfilling for us and also the people that listen to it, and just being able to create songs, and even still is TikToks that show our personalities, being able to do that in a good place. So I'd say 5 years is being in a position where we still have that momentum and still be ourselves. We're not putting on any sort of act really.
But TikTok also, it just allows you to, because it's not as serious as like Instagram. I feel like everyone's like a bit of a joker on TikTok. Like, don't take too seriously.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of our thing. It's we I think being a band, it's that stereotype of drinking and being a bit that kind of. Bear in mind, we are the most un-rock and roll band. Yeah. And I think TikTok has made everyone so self-aware now, is that we're all aware of like the band or musician kind of lifestyle of being, being reckless, being, drinking, and, living on the edge as such. And I think with our TikToks and the things we do, it allows us to make sort of light of that, of people, still trying to, really maybe force that, or not so much force it, but it's just like we all know it's a thing, and it's just funny to
play on the stereotype of a rock band, but I'm like,
just not sort of take yourselves too seriously, just being yourself is like the
definitely like a load of bands. And like online, you may be like, oh, I'm like Liam Gallagher, proper like rock and roll. But I'm like, you're really going to your 9 to 5 in the day, aren't you? Like all of us are. Even.
Yeah, it's kind of like that transparency now we've got with social media. It's quite hard to give off that appearance in a really authentic way. And there's some people that do it, but I just like to, from TikTok, from a viewer, you can kind of go, oh well, that's not really, like you just said, it's not really the case. 9 to 5. But yeah.
I mean, definitely online, people show what they want to show, and they don't what they don't want to. But like, that's all good. But also, don't be fooling everyone that you're like it's proper like rock and roll. Like, shut up, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all. Sorry, go on.
So if you could go back to the start of your music career, like, what's one thing you would tell your younger self?
Learn to dance. No.
Oh, we've really like set you on a path now, haven't we?
Yeah. No. I don't know. I mean, I think it's, looking back, it's kind of enjoying all the, I mean, I loved every sort of second of it, is just enjoying kind of all the little things, going to the gigs, and, being able to, you're sound checking, you're going, backstage, however small a venue there might be, you're still doing, what what you want to do, how you want to really sort of express yourself. And I think, sometimes when you're younger, you're sort of going, oh, when we get to these sort of gigs, it'll be really good. Or when we start doing or getting this equipment, or writing songs like this, rather than just being able to just enjoy the moments, being in the studios, being all those little moments of, sort of, and just sort of sitting there going, I'm actually recording songs with a band that, I really, everyone, we all click. It's just fun, and even when, there's tough times, we always used to make a laugh out of, if we had like a bad gig, or something didn't go planned, like a song list, something, we still had a laugh there. I think it's just, maybe looking back, just sort of don't take yourself, too serious, or put too much pressure on yourself,
Yeah, that's what TikTok's for, so it's great.
Yeah.
Just to throw a bit of fashion in there. So you're a fashion and music magazine. I feel like you all have quite a cohesive look though, which is nice in a band. But is there someone in the band who's really got the style nailed down? You can say if you want to take down yourself.
I would have to say probably me. I would say. Probably me. Sorry to due to the lead singer that's got the ego, but unfortunately today I have to take that.
Take it,
That's, yeah. But I would say in terms of fashion, with me personally, my best mate's girlfriend, she does a lot of our photos, a girl called Charlotte, and she's got quite a distinctive style. And I remember my best mate and her, they sort of went, I bet you we could dress you, because they wear, they've got a very unique style, and they're like, I bet you we could dress you. And they kept saying it, and I went, all right, I'll give you like a budget, whatever, and you can dress me. I think it was out in Brighton, and I think they took me to sort of All Saints. They picked out I think it was like some beige suit trousers, and like an orange sort of flannel shirt. And then ever since then, from that day, I've just been on the hunt, particularly my sort of style, which I haven't got any today, but my sort of style is those sort of stripy shirts. Typically, probably going to say geeky, but from stuff like Sopranos and like the old sort of old Italian gangster shirts. I really like with you know, sort of grey suit trousers, and sort of brown belts. So you know, I'd say, you know, lockdown, I've had a bit of a fashion, you know,
journey.
Journey.
Owe it all to them.
Journey sort of obsession, really. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like when I look online, it's finding those sort of stripy shirts, those like really nice, not too crazy pattern shirts. You know, finding the right balance. They're quite hard to sort of find, but you've got to do a bit of search. But I quite like that because
you've got to be unique.
Bit of online shopping.
Everyone loves a good online shop, so it's fine.
So yeah, I'd say I'm the one who kind of, you know, I'm quite looking for those retro looking, you know, jackets or sort of stuff like that. Really, I'm trying to get the other boys to explore that a bit more.
Get a fashion in.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the name of your band, The Trusted? Is there any meaning to it? Or did you come up with it?
Well, yeah, during that period when we found our drummer, so obviously the next stage after that is, right, what we're going to get for a name. And a name is a really weird thing, because even if you look at the biggest bands or biggest artists, their name, you know, obviously take away the songs and fame and whatever, before you even know what the band represents or means. On the name, the word on its own is empty until the band takes on its meaning. So, like, you know, Coldplay, The Killers, you know, on its own, yeah, it's like, what does it mean? And when you're sussing it, it's so hard, because it's like, it could be anything, but then part of you is like, no, we're not having that. You know, I think we was like, like the Oranges, or, you know, like plane. I think one of us, it was like Planes with No Wings Don't Fly. It was like really, yeah, it was a very sort of stressful time thinking of a name. But there was a song which Elvis Costello covers, called "What's So Funny About Peace, Love and Understanding," and in the second verse there's a line which is, we listened to it one day, me and my brother, and it was, "Who are the strong and who are the trusted?" And that the trusted really stood out. I was like, oh, that's actually quite a good name. We chucked in the group chat, and the boys were like, oh, actually, that's pretty good. And also looked up online, and there's no other band called The Trusted, so, which was even better. And then
win-win.
We took it as even better, and we took that, and I suppose it just sort of felt perfect when we started writing the songs together. It just really showed what we're all about, you know.
It's quite nice that there's an actual story behind it, because some people we ask and they're like, just thought it sounded cool, you know.
Yeah.
Or like any indie band, you can kind of just put the and any object, and you're like, oh, we're an indie band, it's fine. But like, like issue reset. If you Google it, obviously we're not going to come from Google, but it's just like issue reset my password. I'm like, no, this isn't what I meant. I was like, I made a big decision here, and it's gone wrong. So you released your single Eli not too long ago. Are you working on anything at the moment? And if so, what can we expect next?
Well, we were actually in the studio over the weekend, just gone. It was one of our it was only one song, quite a poppy one that I think we wrote last November. And we sort of got around, so we had a bag of sort of ideas, five or so songs, and we showed it to our producer, and it was two of the songs that particularly stood out for him, or one song in particular that we kind of honed in and sort of focused on. So that we were doing sort of over the weekend. But in terms of our next song, so the last song that came out, Eli, and the song before that, Velocore, those two songs were 2 of 4 that we recorded in the studio back in February. And you know, obviously we've been trying to, you know, get these songs out. We're really sort of proud of them. Obviously lockdown and various things, you know, sort of hold the sort of release dates and stuff like that. But the next song that's coming out after this is very different from Eli, as in fact sort of a lot poppier. You know, that Killers-esque and 1975 element is more present in this one coming now. So yeah, you're going to expect a much more sort of upbeat, poppier, tune. So I can't give too much for one, but yeah, that's what.
So right now, if you could play one song on repeat, what song would it be?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have to say, well, probably a section of a song actually. That I would. It's a song itself, but a section. Just sorry, but
Action.
in the Beach Boys song, God Only Knows. That's probably the song I would play on repeat because the songs from that album is one of my favorite albums of all time. But that particular song, there's a part in the song where there's no lyrics; it's just the harmonies, and it sounds so. Or there's a bit at the end of when it all comes together, and it always gives you like goosebumps when you hear it. And that song, I'd say, yeah. What about you two? What's the song that you would have them repeat?
I always find it hard whenever people like put us back to us because I'm like, I'm the interviewer. I just
we haven't thought about that.
I don't know. I've been like the past like 2 weeks. I've been listening to. Do you know who Black Honey are?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, like their album, written and directed. That album's just on repeat, and the Viola Boys, their album. Viola
Oh,
Boys,
okay.
yeah, that is just on repeat, and I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I'm gonna have to say Taylor Swift again.
That's
Honestly, yeah. But her song Afterglow, it's from like her album Lover, and it's like a section of that song as well that I really like enjoying. It's like she like builds it up, and it's not particularly singing. It's like she's saying things. So that section, I'm just like, oh, it hits me every time, and I'm just like, yes.
I mean, is that Taylor's version, or are you listening to the old tracks? Like,
No, she hasn't got Taylor's version of Lover though.
I think. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? No, but I think she owns that one though. It's after she left. Yeah, so
Whatever.
it's not that bad.